have you used the mutant much?
Yes.
Okay. This is probably too specific of a question you wouldn't remember, but like,
is there like an audio bug with the mutant when you shoot it when you die? Or
have
something?
you ever felt like people knew where you were when you had it? Because there is a bug right now where sometimes when you shoot the mutant, everybody else except you hears the mutant on full auto, never ending, until you do something else with your hands. All right.
Are you f***ing kidding me?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the Pogcast things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam, an Escape from Tarkov streamer and YouTuber.
And I'm Veritas. I needed Jesse's ray of sunshine smile in my life right now, because I've never wanted, and I don't condone. I'm trying to picture whatever the cutest animal is. I don't want to say any specific animal because then I'll actually feel bad. Like, I don't want a concrete example, but something really cute and fluffy.
Yeah.
I right now the idea of like,
just
do you know who Adam Vinatieri is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
is this another wrestling thing? I didn't get.
No, he's a field goal kicker for the Patriots.
Oh, well then I can I can understand.
Oh God, I'm just fucking like, because you've
been live for a while, right? Like, this isn't you just hopped on for the podcast. You've been live all day, right?
I've been live for 6 hours. I was live yesterday for 7 or 8 hours, for like 10 hours the day before. I know that that some people, I'm gonna try to do my best not to be too negative Nancy, because I know a lot of people don't like it. But man, fuck me if I'm not back down in the deepest depths of hating everything about this game right now. Like, I find it, I'm back to where I don't understand how anybody plays it. Like, and has any amount of success.
Yeah.
Like, every now and then I'll get rated, and somebody will come in and be like, "Oh, how are your raids?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, they were good, man." I'm like, I'm sorry, did you say they were good?
Wait, how?
Because it's like impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me to have a good raid.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
So what has it been? I mean, the first note in our notes is it? So what? Like, you've been playing a lot today.
I wrote game equals bad in all caps
in our notes.
He put all these bullet points for things we were gonna talk, and I just hit enter and moved them all out of the way and just wrote game
number
equals
one
bad.
Game equals bad. So like I mean, I see a lot here: stutters, network, cheaters.
So the performance is, I'm experiencing client side stutters again.
Really?
Like it's fucking 1999. Going out of style.
I opened up the game earlier today to just like swap some things around in my hideout crafts, and there was an update. So I wonder if they like messed something up, or
no, it's been like this for the last week.
Okay.
For me. So I've been experiencing, now it's only like a couple an hour, but still,
I mean,
it was freaking, like there was none for 6 months.
And when you wait 7, 8, 9 minutes to get into a raid, you know what I mean? And then, you can only do 3 raids an hour if they're successful, 3 to 4. So that means like 1 to 2 of your raids, you're experiencing stutters, which could be potentially raid ending. So that's, yeah.
And then the players that I see, or the scabs I see, especially now that I've been doing, I see it a lot more because I'm doing, been doing scab runs just all over the place, whether it's like reserve or even factory. That's a lot more time for me to see other players running around, which is the thing that made me, when I played with you, that was when I had the light bulb moment. So now it's like, we wiggle and then I see them turn and fucking treadmill and then it's like,
I've been seeing that a ton since you because I played Tarkov duo all the time, but ever since you brought that up, and especially like this wipe, I've been like paying attention to it to see, and it's, dude, yeah, it's like I mean, we're definitely in more often than not. Like if you're with somebody, like almost every single time, whether it's geeks or sealable, they sprint off in front of me. At some point during their stride, they'll treadmill and then catch back up.
Even if there's not like the treadmill, it's like the footsteps don't match up with the movement. Like they are moving slower than, which is
weird.
just like
it's
almost like the server's like, I'm behind for 12 milliseconds. It's just constantly.
I was on a scav raid on reserve, and it was scav army. We had this freaking PMC pinned, and I like peek the corner. I'm like tap 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 on his head, and like I'm peeking him through a window, and he treadmills through the window, and I'm like tap tap tap, and then he's out the door, like complete 180 to me out of my peripheral vision, and shoots me in the side of the head, and I was like, like, it's been yeah.
So I've been
that plus
been
getting
absolutely
rough.
that. So the netcode, the stutters, and then and then of course the sound on factory and shoreline. And I mean even reserve has kind of always been a little bit fucked with like the underground, and I mean just like I'm back to the point where it's like I don't trust my eyes, I don't trust my ears, I don't trust any of my senses, any of my intuitions. And also when I die to players, so much of the time it's like just questionable to me that now, and for whatever reason, whether it's they're cheating or because bugs made them sus or whatever, it's just I don't trust anything. And it all comes down to like, how do I explain this? It's so funny because there are times where like I'm fucking playing and people are like, dude, you're a god. And I mean, I don't think I'm particularly great at the game, but I think I have, I feel like I am, decently skilled,
played
whether
long enough
it's
time to have some
average
chops.
or whatever. There are times where my reaction time and stuff is like crazy and it can be fast and I'm like, oh shit, that was sick. And then there are other times where like I can completely outplay squads and all the things I'm doing. It's like, I'm going to go this way and they're not going to be able to hear me because I know how the sound works, and they're not going to be able to see me, and they're not going to think. And then it works. And it's like, oh my God, that was great. And then there are other times where it's like, everybody seems like they're 19 steps ahead of me. And the thing is that whenever that comes up, they instantly, it seems like, or the people that, I don't know, maybe like don't know me or haven't seen me play forever, like fall back on the idea that, oh, well, dude, I mean, like that guy just anticipated what you were going to do. And like, he just outplayed you in a way that doesn't make sense to you. And it's like, there's not much you can do in this game that I haven't done myself or seen been done before. So there are certain things that people do that literally to me make no sense. Unless they have a fucking radar or wall hacks, or they like there was a sound bug and they could hear me running no matter where I was, which it like there are all kinds of sound bugs, but it's almost always not you
on the receiving end like benefiting.
It's not that you very rarely ever hear people that you shouldn't where they are. Usually you hear people where they're not.
That's a great way to put it. But
there's never been an issue where you're like through an entire building, you can hear somebody running. Because I would be like, I assume they're behind me, underneath me, above me. Like they're not going to be where they are because I wouldn't be able to hear anybody there. So... And I know, again, like, I'm not saying everybody that kills me is a cheater.
Of course.
Like, I can already read the comments about I'm just salty and I'm just bad and, whatever. But it's like, it's just like that overnight. And here's the thing, is that over like a week, 2 weeks, I started having all these experiences. And then also, people have been coming in more and more and more and more saying, seems like there's a lot of cheaters. And it seems like there's... a shit ton of stutters, and I'm constantly having network issues, getting disconnected, like way more. So whatever's going on, I don't know, but I just feel like it's on a downward spiral. we're having bugs that have been solved for a year, 6 months, all of a sudden come back. Some things that, it's
stuff
just,
like stutters. It definitely feels like this huge jumbled mess where, once again, that kind of analogy of spaghetti code comes into mind because I have the clip and I put it in one of my videos of, it was like I legitimately think day 2 of the wipe. It was really early. I was playing with geeks and it was my first shoreline raid and we went to resort and it was like, it's like a 2-minute clip of like, wait, is that you? No, you're not on second? No, I'm not on second. Or you're on second though. No, I'm on first. Wait, are you unlocking? Wait, you're on 310? You know, just like a minute and a half solid of that and that was us realizing that the shoreline audio was so bad. And then we were both just so confused because it was like, wait, I don't think anybody would say that shoreline audio was ever perfect, but like, how did we go backwards? You know what I mean? Like, how,
it was never that bad.
But yeah, that's what was weird. It was like, oh man, it was like, wait, how did we go backwards? Like that was like, we both play shoreline so often and so often as duos. We're so used to the audio, even if it's broken, you know what I mean? We're so used to what the old audio was. It was just so confusing that like certain things felt like they got worse instead of staying the same or getting better. And it was just like,
holy shit, I just had an epiphany. Because I was experiencing something the other day where I don't think I was streaming, but I was running outside from one of the wings.
Okay.
And I got to like the helicopter around that area out front of the resort. And all of a sudden the outside audio kicked in.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if like they just have a typo where wherever they place the audio occlusion layers just got shifted like 7,000 units in front. So like,
holy cow!
It could be something like that.
It could be something that simple. There is a spot.
I need to go test it out.
There's a spot in admin. So you know how you go from either one of the wing down the glass hall to admin, then you go up, turn around, and go up again. When you're going up, you hook right and you go around, and by the couch, if you nestle yourself in the corner of the couch by the duffel bag, outside audio turns on. You hear the birds chirping and everything, and you take one step and it's like, whew. You take one step back and it's like, and I'm like, that was never here before.
The whole geometry, because I mean, honestly, like the occlusion layers they're just virtual boundaries. They literally, like, you might as well effectively, if they could go in and paint a wall and say this is like a sound wall, it's something that the programming environment sees, but we don't see.
Yeah.
You want those to be overlapping with
yes,
like, the physical
with the physical walls.
It could just be that they're not, like, something nudged them and they moved over, whether it's like a typo or some bug where they changed a constant value.
Yeah. Because stuff like that would almost make more sense because it's just East Wing, or at least East Wing is so much worse than West Wing. Like, so much worse than West Wing.
I was leaving West Wing when I had the thing where I heard the audio kick in way out front.
West Wing might be bad, but we were playing, and it's like, if you're on the first floor of East Wing, the roof, the third floor, the second floor, and the first floor have all the same audio. Keys are like they're right next to you, steps, all of it. On West Wing, if you're on first floor and somebody's above you, you hear the above you audio. It's still weird, and I think, but like East Wing is destroyed. All four levels are one level as far as audio.
It's if they're on the same level as you, it is sound equals same level. Yeah. Otherwise, it's sound equals other level.
Dude, I mean,
if you're on,
for me, it's been all 4 floors sound equals same level, all of it. It's crazy, dude. Like I think people, like, I felt so bad. I straight up played a 2-man because I knew, like, me and Geeks were fighting, and the first half of the fight, me and Geeks were like, wait, are they on second or are they on third? And we like did this thing, and I see them and I like peeked it and I engaged them, so they knew I was at that end, and I was like. And I went down to first floor, and I told Geeks, I was like, I want to push them. I want to go under them on first, but I'm worried they'll see me like through the hole in the floor. And then they started throwing grenades at me on second. And I was like, oh, they have no idea. And I just ran all the way, like full sprint, never stopped, just ran all the way, ran upstairs, and just shot them both in the back of the head. And I just played them the audio. They thought that I was running at them, and they were peeking the hall, shooting the hallway. And I was underneath them. They had no idea. It's crazy.
I mean, that makes the one good engagement I had in the last week. I realized it was a 1v4. It was like level 1 and 3 level 20 somethings, and I wiped the whole squad, and it was literally like all in that first, second floor near 310, and I was doing the down the stairs, up the stairs, and I wasn't even thinking about the audio. It was more just like they're a 4-man, so they're going to be chaotic, and I know that everything I hear is a threat, so I can play much more aggressively. But now that I think about it, the audio is probably completely fucking borked for them.
If you play flanks right now, it's crazy. It's almost like cheating, because the audio information you're giving them is that, oh, this guy's going to be aggressive and push right at me. But then you're on another level. So then they get confused and you just drop behind them. It's crazy. It's so weird. And East Wing is worse. West Wing definitely got worse. It still has struggles. But East Wing, it's like no matter wall to wall, top to bottom, the whole thing got weird. And there are so many quests in there, bro. So many people pushing for loot. Like it's you gotta go shoreline quite a bit, dude. And it's rough in there. It's real rough.
What have you been wearing for helmets at all, if anything?
Just whatever I have. I don't buy helmets. I just take them. So
face shields at all, or just the normal like level 3, level 4?
I have been using a lot of the ZSH helmet where you can't wear the headphones and the face shield, because it's like a fast MT. It's class 4 helmet, class 3 face shield.
Is it clear?
Ish. It's like it's the green or the black one. It's the one where like you turn.
No, I mean like the face shield. Is it like smudgy or terrible or?
I'm used to face shields because I wear them a lot, but it's pretty smudgy. But because I feel like I can't trust my ears anyway, I just grab that helmet and face shield, because there's still so many people rocking PST. You know what I mean? Like even in vectors or PP19s or pistols or something.
Bro,
you can stop.
The shotguns.
Oh, the shotguns are crazy. Yeah.
It never like
shotguns are.
It never occurred to me how one pellet of buckshot will kill you.
There's a few, like Magnum.
No, like almost all of them.
Yeah. One pellet to the face can kill you.
One pellet. So I was on, I think it's 3rd floor, 306 maybe, where you like jump over the generator on the balcony.
Oh yeah.
So I was literally standing on the generator. 2 guys were running down on the ground level, like right by, I think there's like a fire truck or an ambulance or
something.
It's just a big truck. Dude was running there. I sprayed his buddy. I had a vector and it like didn't kill him, because I think I just had PST at the time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he turns, looks up, and I'm dead from buckshot.
Yep.
And I had fucking level 5 armor, level 5 helmet, and it was like one fucking pellet to my face.
And
he just flicked it.
You can just react and spam gung 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 gung, and you're putting so much buckshot in somebody's direction. If they're not like, dude, if you go customs right now, you have to wear a face shield. Everybody is doing either silent caliber or setup. Everybody's running around with shotguns, and it's like if they have AP20, there's nothing you can do anyway. But if they're running buckshot, you better have a face shield because, dude, shotguns are way underrated. Way underrated. Like I was going the last raid of the day when I played with Geeks yesterday. I went kill armor, the ZSH with the face shield, and I got outmaneuvered. It was a two-man of shotgun boys fighting each other, and me and Geeks tried to make a move on it. The dude swung, snapped, folded Geeks in half. Just like, he was like, let's get into this fight. Boom, dead. He was like, I'm dead. And so I peeked the corner and I saw, unfortunately, the farther away guy, and the close guy was in the bush, and the close guy had Magnum Buck. And I was full health, full armor. I haven't been touched. He shoots me once. Both my legs are black. My entire body is half health. He shoots me again in the legs, and I'm dead. Kill armor, mutant, helmet, face shield, boom, boom. You're just folded. Like,
I need to test out the shotguns.
So underrated.
I have no idea what the spread looks like anymore. Like I haven't seen like the spread testing on shotguns in like 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it's like night and day. Like difference from back. Yeah, because I would have assumed at like 40 yards, 40 meters.
Yeah.
Shooting like the buckshot, that that's a pretty wide cone. I wouldn't think that it was literally just regular 7mm whatever buckshot. It wasn't Magnum. It wasn't.
You can put like the tactical choke on it too. I know Deadly's done testing with that really actually tightens the group up a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Magnum buckshot bug is back. They fixed it, but it's back. Where like past like 15 meters, it shoots in a complete donut. No pellets go in the middle. So if you aim at somebody's face, it'll just go whoosh. You'll hit 3 pellets in their chest and everything goes around their face. You can go in the hideout and shoot and it's just like boom.
Fuck.
But it's
Oh my God.
it's like less than 10 meters or something like that. It'll be like a normal shotgun spread, and then farther out, it's almost a complete circle. Which that was in the game for a while, and then they fixed it. And then with Magnum specifically, at least, could be more, but with Magnum, it's back. But shotguns are crazy. I've gotten shooter born in heaven shots with AP-20 before. All the buckshot rounds are really strong. Like it's wild.
I gotta like, I just had this thought, and I feel like it's kind of probably super important to just Tarkov in general, and it's all these bugs that we're talking about that all of us know about, that we're all think are like ubiquitous, right? Like, oh, East Wing's fucked. I'd be willing to bet you that 99 out of 100 people, nobody's reported anything.
Oh, yeah.
There's a world in which like Nikita doesn't have any idea that anything's
some
wrong,
of this,
right?
At least some of these things are wrong. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because every time I talk to him, whenever I talk to him about like a specific thing, he's always like, "Oh, we haven't gotten a lot of reports." Like the net code. So imagine, do you think that just because of the subtlety and like of the movement being all weird and stuff, like before I mentioned it, do you think that like it started right when I pointed it out to you, or it was probably around for like ever?
100%. 100%. It was around for forever. I just like, you like opened my eyes. Like I saw it all the time. I just never noticed it. And I had no idea what netcode was really. I learned everything I know about it from talking to you and all this stuff, watching some battle nonsense stuff. Like I had no idea. Like it's just game. It's just multiplayer game lag. You know, my internet sucks. I could have rationalized it away a million different ways. Yeah, so I think it was there all the time. Yeah.
When I first brought it up to Nikita as like, hey, like, you know, what's your guys' status? He was basically like, we haven't gotten any widespread reports of any issues. Everything's fine on our end. Bro, that was before I made my netcode video.
Here's the thing.
So that just makes me think like, no, like I'm almost about to say like we need to start mass reporting shit.
Yeah.
Or like there's got to be some other mechanism. Maybe like I create a fucking poll and distribute it through all the content creators, and they give it to all their community members where it's like, what are the major bugs right now? And then I personally hand that to Nikita and say, hey, we have 100,000 fucking votes saying sound on shoreline's an issue. He's going to be like, oh. Yeah. Because that's way more efficient than a bunch of people just doing bug reports. Because as a software engineer, when you go into, if you go into shoreline and you experience a sound issue, I'm telling you, nothing in any of the logs, none of that is relevant. It's not like they're going to see an error that's like error sound not
bad.
Processed.
East Wing.
It's the logs are as good as the people who log them. Like you have to explicitly say, run this line of code, you get a variable, do something with it, but then also print out to the log, here is my debug log for this variable, : and then print out the variable, so that they have to manually do it. So if they aren't looking for it, then there's no logs about it, and only like Unity bugs or Unity errors, which if you open up your console, I mean, mine is just full. It's just full. System runtime exception, system throw for not handle, validate, like it's just full of just junk. So it's absolute garbage. So like there's no benefit in doing a bug report other than informing Nikita that something is wrong. But even those things are so nebulous that like a million people can submit a million bug reports and it'll be like 800,000 discrete kind of issues. Whereas if I could get everybody in chat here to vote and like, have you experienced a sound issue in Shoreline? Everybody would say, yup. And it would be Shoreline audio is fucking broken. And then whatever the issue is, if it's related to sound, then, you know, once they fix the issue, it will presumably, it's either specific to Shoreline or it's more general, and it should fix it everywhere.
Yep.
So I don't know. What do you think? Is there a mechanism?
So I think like that is 100%. Like not 100%. It's more your wheelhouse to know like what a bug report would look like and how much of that information is relevant. Obviously, it's most of Nikita's wheelhouse and BSG's because they would be able to tell us. But like, well, here's the thing: is that like on one hand, Nikita straight up told us like a year and a half ago that he was going to work on allowing us to report bugs in game. And we've had this conversation before, and it's funny, every time we have this conversation, the same thing happens. My mind explodes, and I go, holy cow, you're totally right. I treat all these issues as if every member of BSG watches all the streamers and engages on Twitter and does all these things where I see... I'm just like at my wit's end. I was like, guys, please stop beating this dead horse. But I get all my information from YouTube, Twitch, and playing the game. Well, I don't assume that the devs play the game very often because it's their job to make it. And that means I probably don't assume that at least most of the hardcore like coding audio devs aren't like, you know, in my chat or in Pestely's chat all day. So it's like
whatever gets upvoted on Reddit, honestly, is probably what gets seen the most attention.
So like,
which is actually horrifying now that I say that out loud.
Yeah. So that's step one, is that like every time we talk about this, it really does blow my mind and remind me like, holy cow. Yeah. If I really think critically about it, I bet that there is a world where a lot of these bugs are completely flying under the radar. So that leads me to like, you have to be able to report a bug in game. Like, I don't know if you can access the launcher and report it while the game is running.
You can.
Like, it just seems, I don't know. Maybe one of us should make a video about the what if at the end of every raid you could like click to a menu? You didn't have to. It wasn't like a screen, but like you could click to a menu where you could like submit the files for that raid and a brief description. Like, once again, I understand what you were saying is like you don't want to swing the pendulum too far the other way where things are getting mass reported and then, you know, and then you've got phone books of useless information and like flying around people's inboxes at BSG. But at the same time, my worry is that if we start a poll and it's like we get 100,000 votes and they're like audio's bad, Nikita will just be like, well, show me the log files. It seems, you know, it looks fine on our end. Like, where's that happy medium where we can get them not just an angry mob saying something's wrong, but also not flooding people with like the Great Wall of China's worth of code that's useless to them? What's that? I don't know.
So I mean, the thing is that in almost all of these cases, again, like I can only guess because I don't have full information, but I have enough information where I'm like 89% sure that most of these things apply. They're just like general kind of software things where, I mean, we have access to the logs. I've read through all of the logs. I know the types of things they're logging. It's the types of things you fucking log.
Yeah.
And none of those things are going to catch a bug like the audio is fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. It's not something that would ever be in the logs. Or it'd be very, very rare. And in that case, it would be extremely easy where it's like, oh, no reference to this fucking sound identifier. And it's like, oh, we named this, you know, sound thing wrong or what, like, but so I think, like, I honestly think if I could right now come to some conclusion, it would be, imagine if I had a poll, did a poll with the fucking community or whatever, and it was like a bajillion people all said, yeah, the Shoreline audio is fucked. And then I went and recorded a 2-minute video with someone in an online raid where I could very easily do, here are the steps to reproduce the issue. Because all of these issues that we see, the reason why logs are good is when you have intermittent problems. Because what happens is, it's like, I don't know how to reproduce the problem on my end. So I need to see what happened because it was like a rare thing that happened for you. So that's when the logs... Because usually you have like, if 1 in a million chance happens, throw a log here with the information that would be crucial to solving the problem.
Yeah.
But if you have, if if I can go to Nikita and say, hey, go to East Wing with 2 players and walk around, use your ears.
Yeah. Just
they don't need logs anymore.
Yeah.
If they need logs, then I'm horrified.
Yeah.
I'm horrified because that's like when you go to the doctor, you broke your arm at a fucking football game, and they're like, I need to see the video of the collision.
Yeah.
And it's like,
No,
my arm is fractured
Yeah.
out of my thing. Like, it's broken. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know, I'm going to have to see some sort of photographic. No, man.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Do the fucking x-ray. None of these issues are like rare. They're all 100% reproducible. So they just need to be convinced that they exist.
That's so true. How do we do that? Because you're right. Like I said, I'm totally on this bandwagon now where I'm like, holy cow, like there's a very real possibility that some of the stuff that we would consider like widespread is just flying under the radar.
Because everybody assumes it's kind of like the bystander effect.
100%.
Everybody assumes that someone else called 911 already, so they're not going to call 911 for the screams in the alleyway, you know?
Yep. 100%. And then a lot of times where it is most present on social media is just tied up in a bunch of vitriol, and it's hard to discern like a real constructive thing. So I feel like there's probably tiers of like huge, giant, everybody encounters this every day. Like the audio, like West Wing Shoreline, like steps to repeat process, open game, click Shoreline. Like, you know what I mean?
Run to building.
Yeah.
The problem exists.
That's it. So there's like issues on that tier that are probably just like, all we have to do is bring them to your attention and their attention, and from somebody that they trust enough to be like, listen, just like go do the thing. Just go see it. And you'll freaking send Demirka or whoever it was to Shoreline and he'll see. And then there's probably, tiers of things that happen less often. Subtlety was saying, so much for Subtlety was saying, would they need something like Star Citizen's Issue Council? This is a really interesting thing, but there's a page on their website, and it's built into the thing, and it's a community driven thing. Imagine like Reddit, but reworked and specifically for bug reporting. And so basically it's this whole community driven thing where somebody can report a bug, and then that can immediately get like uploaded to Oblivion saying, please fix, this is bad. And then you've got a whole bunch of people submitting documents, and then you've got a whole bunch of people saying like, I repeated it this way, it happened to me here. And then that's because it's self-contained as this one thing. So then the devs can like pull this one bug. They can see a bunch of information about like specific things that trigger it from upvoted comments.
Should I just make a Tarkov bug council fucking subreddit now?
Dude, but see, Reddit is scary. I mean, they'd probably be a good place to start because we could
totally
do it.
Fine. Everybody there is reasonable and they love me. It'll be great.
But it was just, and I don't know what it is, but it's like, but seriously, like you're right in the sense that like Reddit, like every major problem that has had to do with technology, I always Google it, can't find anything relevant at all, then Google the same phrase with the word Reddit at the end, and on my second post, I find the issue. Like that is the light side of Reddit, and that is the light side of a community of people. It's like, put us to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you saying that there aren't guys in the Tarkov community that wouldn't read every single line of those log files and be like, oh, this and this? I mean, there have been bugs that have been fixed today and values that have been changed through guys like NoFam and the Wik. Like, so give us a place to do that, which is Star Citizen. It's this whole issue council. It's on their website. It's branded like their stuff. And they have found and fixed crazy bugs through the issue council. Something like that, whether we freaking make it up via the Reddit or they build it into something, but like put the community to work. Like it's the whole, if you give somebody something to do, they'll do it. And if not, they'll just complain. You know what I mean? My mind is being blown right now because we're standing with this Grand Canyon between us. Everybody experiences the bugs all day and doesn't know what to do. So we all complain. And then on the other side, they don't have any information about the bugs, so they don't fix them. And it's like, how do we bridge that gap a little bit? So
yeah, I mean, so like, do you get any? So you don't experience the fucking like 2-minute wait after every raid thing?
I don't. I never do.
But
Sealable does almost every time.
Yeah. So I'm like 99% sure that I know what the cause of that is, and again, this is like another example where it's like clear that there's a divide between like the expectations of us and like where the
Yeah.
devs are at with like understanding. Because like I remember mentioning it to Nikita, and like when I mentioned it to him, he's like, oh, okay, like if you're experiencing anything like that, like we need logs. And to me, I'm already like, wow, like that means that they must not have like all it takes for a bug like this.
Yeah.
When I looked at the logs, I found the problem. Or at least like the thing right next to the problem. Like it might not have been the problem, but it might have been like, oh, here's the bullet I'm taking out of the wound, and oh, it's the blood splurting from it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so close to the thing. That like, and then when I mention certain things like the network diagnostics log, he was like, oh, which log is that? Like, where is it? You know, he's like, where are these log lines? Like, in which log? Like, it's like I now know, I've like memorized the pattern of, because all it takes is 20 minutes of looking at 3 or 4 days worth of logs to where I now know their entire network diagnostics process and like what they do. So here's what I think the problem is. Here's what I think they should do. And then also like, keep in mind that this is another example of something that's indicative of like 50% of the players experience this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to me, I mean, maybe the dev team is fully aware and Nikita's oblivious, or maybe, maybe none of them know. And this is like total news. But from talking to Nikita, this is my best understanding. I think that if there's ever any sort of networking issues, whether it's like packet loss or whatever. So this is actually kind of like triple funny, because don't you get like kicked from raids? Like don't you have like really I've never had packet loss.
I get kicked from raids in 2 different ways. I get 60,000 packets lost over the course of 3 seconds, and I know it's going to happen. And I get complete instantaneous. I mean, like running, gaining stamina, see sniper, scav, ADS, gone, desktop, just Unity error. Like no stutter, no chugging, like every...
But that's not a network thing, that's like crash, right?
Every frame... No, but I'm saying like that might be a separate bug. I'm saying my crashes come from 2 bugs. There's networking, and then like every frame delivers, and then desktop. And then it says Unity error. And I'm like, what the... Like it surprises me. It's crazy. But yeah, I get the packet loss thing all the time too.
So from my understanding of what Nikita had said, he actually, we were talking on like Telegram, which is like Discord, but then at one point he sent like a 45-second like voice message. I think he was like sick of probably typing in English. So all of a sudden it was like Nikita's recording a voice message, and I was about to like thought I was gonna hear like somebody tied up and being beaten to death in the background. He's like, you want to submit bug? You listen to what Dimitri in the back has to say about it. But he basically explained that, again, this is my best guess, but he said, or my best understanding. I hate how I have to caveat this, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get out in front of all the people that are like, that's not exactly right, because I'm going so fucking, I'm so many things removed here. But my understanding is that if you experience packet loss or any sorts of issues, that the game basically says, okay, in that raid, you experience some networking issues. So what I should do is let me like set a flag so that once you get out of the raid, before you get back to the menu, run some network diagnostics so that maybe we can see what the problem is.
Oh,
so they go and they run a bunch of tests, and it's a whole bunch of commands that you can literally run in your console. You can literally say the command, and it says arguments. And they all take a fraction of a second, 0.1 seconds, 0.2 seconds, 0.1 seconds, there's like 7 or 8 of them. The last one is a trace route. I think I talked about this last time.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I've learned a little bit more about this, in the research since then, but the last one is the trace route. Now, the trace route traces all the packets along all the hops because it wants to figure out where the packet loss is.
Yeah, so I kind of further refine where and what's happening. Yeah,
and it takes longer than your ping might only be 25 milliseconds or whatever, but the fact of the matter is that it actually needs to like go to the first. You can think about it this way. This is an oversimplification, engineers. Just bear with me, but it's like it effectively goes to the first tower and then comes back and says, "Here's my time." And then it goes to the second tower and comes back and says, "Here's my time."
Yeah.
Then it goes to the third tower. So that's how it's
it's
figuring out
a little
where
bit
along
more
the way.
layered than just ping, which is just like there and back as fast as possible. This is like a little bit more
It's
layered.
why you can see 3 milliseconds, 1 millisecond, 8 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds. But why did it take 40 seconds? Because it has to do a whole bunch of things, wait for timeouts and the time to live on the packets and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but every single time that they do this thing, at the end they do the trace route, and the trace route, I mean, like when I go in and if I go into my console and I type in trace TRACERT space prod.escapefromtarkov.com and hit enter, it takes 40 seconds. My logs always take 39.89 whatever seconds at the end of this network diagnostics process that Nikita says should only happen very rarely if you have connection issues during a raid. Except people like you have connection issues all the time, don't have this flag on, and someone like me who never has connection issues has it happen every fucking raid. Every raid, it's like, your network's fucked.
So weird.
Run a because what happens is when it runs the diagnostics, that's what then creates the network diagnostics log, so that when you submit a bug report, it gets bundled up and goes in. But if nobody ever submits a bug report, they never get the logs. And then if someone like you submits a bug report, and people like you are experiencing like actual packet loss and actual connection issues, and it's not flagging for you. So like they might just have it literally where it's like true is false and false is true or something.
Yeah.
Because everybody that has this issue, they all have network diagnostics, and their weight correlates 100% with whatever the fucking trace route. Because some people trace route might take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
see, that's one of those things
clearly
where it's like
turn off the network whatever that thing is, just comment that line out. So don't run network diagnostics. Just until you figure out what your fucking problem is, so that you make it so it doesn't run every single raid.
Yep.
Just disable it, because it happens in 100% of the raids.
You're not benefiting because nobody's submitting the logs to you, and we're all at the detriment, or the people who aren't experiencing bugs are at the detriment. Bro, how are we going to do this? You're so right. They just don't know. They just don't know about these things. They just don't know. How are we going to who do we need to get involved? Do we need to get Papa Pestily involved? I know they DM all the time. I don't know, dude. This just like, it's crazy. Like the more I think about it, it's like, especially because some of this stuff is potentially relatively fixable, like that. Like if that's as simple as like they could comment that line out, fix it for everybody, and then now that they understand that something's weird there, spend some time, developing it. And that could be like in 30 minutes, a lot of people will stop experiencing that bug. Like, you know what I mean? The shoreline thing, and they might be it could be as simple as like a day or a weekend's worth of like looking into it. They go, oh shoot, all of these numbers got times 10 and it moved everything. Let's boom, bow, done. Shoreline audio better. Like, I know that some bugs are going to take a while to investigate. And I know things just like network instability, like of course they're always investigating that, but it's like, it really does feel like there's some stuff sitting on top here that they're just not even aware of.
Yeah, it's just really hard to know. Like I just sent him a message saying, are you guys aware of the relatively new Shoreline Resort audio issues? And he's either going to be like, yep, we're working on it, because it's crossed his radar for whatever reason. Yeah. Whether another Pestily mentioned it to him or Clean mentioned it to him, or it was upvoted a billion times on the Reddit. Yeah. Or he's going to say, no, what do you mean? And then that's like, danger, dude. But that's the impression I got when I mentioned the waiting after, the waiting after the raids.
Have you used the mutant much?
Yes.
Okay. This is probably too specific of a question you wouldn't remember, but like,
is there like an audio bug with the mutant when you shoot it when you die? Or
have you ever felt like people knew where you were when you had it? Because there is a bug right now where sometimes when you shoot the mutant, everybody else except you hears the mutant on full auto, never ending until you do something else with your hands. Oh, no. All right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh no, chat, we lost.
This is the kind of shit that I'm
We
talking
lost
about,
him.
dude.
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about, where people like now I have to go back and watch every single fucking sus clip that I ever
When you
saw.
have with the mutant.
I've been running the mutant 85% of my raids, and I got so frustrated I was running the mutant, and I kept dying to fucking cheaters.
You would legit never know. The only reason why I know is because like I heard there was like a bug with the audio of the mutant, and then I was like whatever. And then I was playing with my buddy, and he opened Marked Room, picked one up, and was like, oh sweet, and he killed a scab with it. And it like the funny clip made it in my highlight video where it was just like, and it just like kept going, and I was like, dude, what the heck? And as I was about to open my mouth to be like, this bug is happening, somebody ran up and I didn't hear them, and they just shot me in the head. And so I was like, oh geez. And then I told him, I was like, that's crazy. I thought that he heard it too. Then yesterday I was playing with Geeks, and it was the first time I used the mutant, and I killed somebody, and I was like talking to Chad, I was like, yo, this thing is sick. And he was like, stop, throw the gun on the ground, throw the gun on the ground, throw the gun. And I was like, what do you mean? And if you throw the gun on the ground or heal or switch to a different weapon, that stops it. But until you do that, it's just. But
I wonder why
you don't hear
I never heard it. I never heard it for anybody else.
Oh, you never heard it for? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how often it happens.
Does it sound like the RPK?
If it's unsuppressed, I think it can sound like the RPK.
Because I just noticed earlier on Interchange, I heard an RPK like, and I was like, oh, it's Killa. And then I heard another one over there, and another one over there. I heard like 9 RPKs all full auto. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It happened to me and Geeks 2 raids in a row. Like we survived that raid. We went back into the mutant. I killed somebody. He was like, hey, do it again, do it again. And so yeah, but that's what's crazy is that like those bugs have happened before, but I felt like it was both ends heard it, and you would have to like do something. But the shooter doesn't know that they're broadcasting their location with a non-stop stream of fake bullets.
I mean, that right there is a perfect example of how you should never be 100% sure.
Oh yeah.
That is a cheater.
Yeah.
That's why I always say 99.9, because I know enough to know that a fucking solar flare could have hit the nanoparticle on my on my microchip, and it just made my eyes glow in the game through walls or something. You know what I mean? Like some bullshit like that would happen. But like, think about it. I mean, that's effectively, you might as well have wall hacks at that point. I mean, I'm better with hearing than I am with seeing. Yeah. I'm actually better when I hear somebody peek out and I just blind pre-fire based on their footsteps than I am trying to line up my shot with vision. I'm slower. Yeah. So I mean, fuck. Like, now I wonder how many people have been super sus. Because I've been reporting a shit ton of people lately, way more than normal. Yeah. But at the same time, the times that have been really pretty confident about it for very specific reasons that just comes down to like instinct.
Yeah.
And like that just felt fucking fishy.
Yeah.
Like I know what it's like to get outplayed.
Yeah. But
I also know what it's like when somebody has information they shouldn't have. And I mean, the audio could explain it, but I will say that, me, and a bunch of other people every now and then will send names. If there's someone totally blatant, we'll send a name to Nikita and be like, can you check them out? And the last 3 names I sent to Nikita, he said they've all been banned and they were all EOD.
That's crazy.
So now it's like, I literally don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And then and of course, those are all people that like people in chat were like, what do you mean, dude? That was totally fine. Totally legit.
Yeah, he just outplayed you.
Maybe it was, or maybe your instincts are so fucking bad that you don't see exactly how and in what way that was sus, know?
Yeah.
Again,
or
I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I can be wrong a million ways.
Yeah.
But you can't say experience and knowledge is worthless. You just have to say it's not infallible.
Exactly. But that specifically, we were just talking about bugs that they might not know, and that made me think of. I was like, Veritas only plays solo. I was like, if he's been running the mutant, God only knows how many times that's happened.
Some people have mentioned that, like, I'd be in the middle of a firefight and I'd see something about, like, Veritas, something, audio bug or whatever, and it just,
Yeah.
I've read 2 or 3 people mention it, but nobody ever was specific enough that it like caught my eye.
And you're thinking if there's an audio bug, you'd hear it, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're
because,
like, oh, I
remember
haven't experienced it yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't hear this one. It's freaking weird, dude. It's freaking weird. Yep.
Oh man, dude.
So yeah, I don't know, man.
God.
I feel like, yeah, and then there's the mutant does this, and I feel like a few other guns do this. You noticed where you like equip it twice, like you pull it into your hands and then
if
it
you, like,
disappears
throw a grenade,
and you pull it back.
If you throw a grenade, it does it twice. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fucking annoying as hell.
It is annoying. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I feel like the thing with creating like a Reddit or something like fully manned by us is that like we would need like moderators, right? Like you got to have people in there to do the stuff. But I really feel like I'm starting to feel like if somebody, like if we, not Veritas and I, but if we, the community, if we don't do something to like initiate this bug thing, whether it's all of us deciding we're gonna use the bug reporter and sorry if your logs suck, get better logs, or whether it's we do a poll, or whether it's we start a Tarkov issue council subreddit, I really feel like we got to do something.
I mean, fuck. I'm like more and more. I'm getting so frustrated to the point like I don't want to quit. Like I literally told Nikita, I'm like, I will do contract development work for you for like nothing. Like I just know that if I have fucking access to whatever, I can help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm able to say, oh, I have on this special test, even if I don't have access to the code.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'll ask the QA team. It's like, okay, I'm a master's degree in software engineering. I guess I'll be on the QA team. But like, I'm even ready to like put me in the mud. I don't give a fuck because I just want to help.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to look into it. But I literally was like, dude, I will help with testing, with debugging, with fixing anything, like whatever.
Put me in the game, coach, anywhere.
Because, again, like a lot of these issues, like the sound, these are all things that it's not to say I could necessarily fix them.
Yeah.
Because that's a different ball of wax. But every development job I ever got in my 10 years, the first thing they do is they sit you down and, you get you set up and everything. But then you have to you look at the code base and it's 8 billion files that are all like, I don't know anything. And they're like, okay, so like there's this button that's, rounded and we need to make it square and make it blue instead of green.
Yeah.
And then you spend all day trying to find like what file is the green color to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but what you do is you like learn where all the things are. And then you're usually solving a few stupid or annoying bugs. In a code base you completely don't understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a language with technology you don't understand. And I've always been, that's like, of all the things I'm good at, that's one of the things I'm like the best at, where I've always excelled at my jobs. In the first day or two, I always have like 3 bugs fixed. And it's always been like, holy fuck. Like, this is actually what caused issues at my last job that I quit. Because I was there, I went to California, and in the first 2 or 3 days that I was there, I had like 3 pull requests up with like long-term bugs that hadn't been fixed, that had been annoying like the testers, but like the other iOS guy didn't fucking care about. He's like, yeah, I'll get to it whenever, it's low priority. And I fixed 3 of them in like no time as the new guy. And he was like, literally the day I left, after like getting the laptop, meeting the team, and then coming back to work from home, he basically told me like, pump the brakes.
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
He was like, I'm looking forward to really fucking making progress and helping you guys out. And he's like, yeah, just don't do too much too soon, all this stuff. He basically told me to sandbag so that like, basically so he wouldn't look bad.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I ultimately left, was that kind of bullshit. But
jeez,
I know I could fucking diagnose so many of these problems, because dude, you pray for a bug that's reproducible.
Yeah.
Like that's what you pray for when you're an engineer.
And that feels like that's all we got in Tarkov is reproducible bugs.
They're not rare.
At
They're
all.
things that happen so much, and that's why they're so annoying.
Yeah.
But the bugs that I used to have to work on in the robotics industry, they were like networking bugs where we'd have 1 million active users and we'd have 3 instances of a particular bug, and it's like solve this literally 1 in a million thing. So what you actually have to do is you have to like theorize what could have caused this. You need to modify the code to like put it in a state where, oh, well, if this was laggy and this got backed up and the person was in airplane mode and then left the Wi-Fi and then did this thing, they would get this specific error code and then the app would crash. And the one day you go and spend the time and do that and the app crashes, you're like, yes! Because you feel like fucking Dr. House solving, you know, that the guy, it was never lupus to begin with, you know? But that's my skill set, and I want to do that for Tarkov. I can't do it from, I'm not even on the sidelines. I'm like a peeping Tom in the window outside of left field with binoculars.
I know what's going on in there, guys. Just let me in.
Put me in, coach. They're like, put down your window, creep. You've been banned.
Bro. Yeah. I mean, that would be incredible. It'd be incredible for you to get back there, but I just keep coming back to like, how do we just more directly interface with them that there are issues? And maybe that's led by Nikita or somebody reaching out to somebody and just being like, hey, I feel like there's a disconnect here. Like, what's best for you guys? Like, I don't know. I just feel like you were saying, there have been enough of those red flags where you were like, hey, you're aware of this, right? And they're like, what? Where it's like, oof. And the thing is, here's the thing, is that we talk about it on the podcast, other people talk about it, and the feeling people take away is that they're ignoring the bugs. And that's different, right? We're definitely no BSG shills who say everything they say is good, believe them no matter what. Like, we will criticize them, but but we don't want people thinking that they're ignoring bugs for no reason and intentionally frustrating the community. That is different than just not knowing the bugs exist because they're working on other things. Maybe there's still fault laid at the feet of Battlestate Games that, hey, you need to interface with the community a little more or a little better to see these bugs. But that's a very different ball game to be like, we're too busy working to see the bugs than like, yeah, we see those bugs, but we don't care. That's the vibe a lot of the community has, dude.
And that's not fair. And that's the thing is that I 100% like do not buy any of those conspiracy theories.
No.
And I don't think that BSG or Nikita don't care, and I don't think they're lazy. I just
agree.
think they don't know.
Exactly.
Like, which is frustrating for completely different reasons.
Yes.
And it still makes me angry.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not like a personal thing. It's like I just feel powerless. I mean, it's to bring up the fucking house metaphor again, like at the, they always figure out, 3/4 of the way through the episode, like, oh, you never told us you were pregnant. That explains all the things. Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Like, you never reported it. Oh, well, I didn't think it was,
100%.
So, like, yeah, I mean, people, I never report bugs because whenever I do, they go off into no man's land. Yeah. And I figure that I figure that there's so many bug reports that everything must get lost. And there's probably no bug reports, or even the ones that they do get are probably like dumb shit. Like, I hate this game, fix your fucking game, and it's useless. So they just delete them. So I'm gonna reach out to Nikita. This is something where I'd be perfectly comfortable and reasonable for you to be like, yeah, you got like 5 minutes, we jump on a call. Yeah. And then I'll be like, and I explain the situation and basically say, like, I know you want to know what's up. Yep. But the community, like, and see, the hard part is that, like, maybe I do need to talk with, like, Pestily or something, because it's hard to not, and I understand, I just get the impression that he's probably thinks that, like, when I talk to my community, it's like 11 people, where it's like, I want to be like, I get 10,000 unique fucking people every couple of days in here that are all like, oh my God, preach, you're saying, so it's like, I know that the numbers are significant enough. Yeah. but all he gets, they do the podcasts, and those are just shit shows.
Yeah.
And nobody ever focuses on anything that's actually like a real thing. So I'm gonna try to see if maybe he'd be receptive to like, okay, if we made a subreddit, or if I did a monthly poll or whatever. I gotta figure out what the fuck I'm signing myself up for, and if it's worth my goddamn time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a great first step is basically just like that. Yeah, 5-minute chat. Like, hey, we know you want to know stuff. How much do you hear from the community? How much do you use bug reports?
We want you to hear.
We want you to hear it. And you know what I mean? Just to like, even as a first step before like we create, like just to hear, because if his sentiment is similar to ours, but on the reverse, where he like, if you just start that conversation and he immediately picks it up and he's like, yeah, dude, it's super frustrating. Everybody on Twitter yells about our game, but we don't know what you guys are talking about. Then that's just the like seal, like something needs to happen, whether it's led by you, led by us, led by them. That at least is the seal of like, we feel it, they feel it. Obviously something's got to change. And then we can figure out what that is. Maybe like you, me, and Pestley and a few people just go through and try to find some like stalwart community members that would be down to mod a subreddit. Maybe we do like a special monthly episode of the podcast called The Bug Report, and we have like a Discord or a place where people can like put all the stuff, and then we just like chat through it. We get everybody in, we like distill the top 10 things of the week, and then we can submit that. Like, there's some cool ideas.
That's a shit ton of time, dude. Bug triage is a thing where like we used to sit on like, there were times where it'd be like a Saturday morning where it's like, we got a release coming up on Monday, and we go through a bajillion fucking bug reports, and it was like the first 17 are all like different flavors of the same thing. So it's like, just sweep those all into one basket, and it's like create one bug. That filtering takes a lot of time, and we had the benefit of being so close to the product, because we like using, I was making the app, but I was also every 14 seconds I would be hitting build, and I would be popping up the app on my phone and pressing the buttons and testing it. Yeah. So I would be, just to test the feature that I was building 9 screens in, I had to swipe the side menu and tap on the button. And so like I was using it like fucking crazy. Nothing was in its own little island, So we were all well aware of all of the common, cases that I'm sure that they aren't. So yeah. Fuck.
Maybe, I mean, like something, just food for thought, something to chew on. Maybe Discord would be a better place than Reddit. Like being able to like, I don't know, just break it up into channels, map specific or certain things, or like people posting clips, getting people to moderate it. Like beginning phases, I really think, like you said, the first step is just ping Nikita, take 5 minutes of his time and just see his vibe. And if he's feeling it, because if on the other end, if he's not receptive to it, then it might not be worth it.
Waste all our time.
If he's like, no, we know exactly what's going on. Even if he doesn't, even if we all know he doesn't, it might not be worth the time to go forward. But I think there's a few different cool ideas we could do, and even get some people. That would be interesting, bro.
All right,
we're gonna freaking make. God dang it, we're gonna make some changes. This is gonna be great.
We need to get some hats. Make Tarkov great again,
bro. Because imagine like, and this goes a long way to ripple effect. Like imagine the vibe from the community if stuff like this gets treated in a relatively short amount of time. Like me and Geeks, or me and Sealable, or somebody were just saying, we were like, wow, I can't believe the wipe's been out for 3.5 weeks and Shoreline audio hasn't been fixed. But once again,
imagine if so many of the frustrations are just the lack of communication.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Imagine if like so many of these bugs, like the freaking after raid bug, all that time wasted, all that frustration brewing in people, some of the sound things, some of the like the gun, like imagine if some of this stuff gets addressed, swept away, timely. Imagine if the community over time starts to really feel like there's a place, whether it has anything to do with us or not, where like bugs can be addressed, taken into account, prioritized, and fixed. Like that would go a long way in people's like willingness to like play the game and enjoy it and be okay with things and want to participate in its development. Because that's the thing, man. Like I always use Star Citizen, whatever, but like it just doesn't feel like the players of Tarkov participate in its development very much. Whereas games like Star Citizen, it really feels like a lot of them do, or want to. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So I think that there's some stuff that could potentially turn that around a bit.
All right. Well, this is my new fucking passion project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it'd be fucking great, fantastic if you know, and I would want the focus of something like a Discord or whatever to be like, you're all robots, no complaining.
Yes.
Just state the fucking facts. Don't be toxic dickheads. If I see anybody say BSG fix your game, I'm fucking.
You're out of here.
I'll be the head moderator of this goddamn Discord. So, and you know how I moderate. It's, oh, you're a dickhead. Okay, you're banned.
You're banned. But bro, I really bet we could do it. I bet if we like got in, set the culture right, hard, swift, exactly like you are a robot. This is an emotionless place. You provide information, we gather the information, cull the information, send the information, and then that key linchpin. Yeah.
Download.
And then that key linchpin would have to be BSG accepting the information and using the information. But if you set that culture early and quick, I mean, like some of the, and that goes to what you were saying, where it's like sometimes you feel like Nikita's just like, what do you mean? You're like, you did the 12 people you talked to experience this bug? It's like, I mean, we could, if we could build a Discord to a few thousand members pretty quickly. There are a few thousand willing participants and players of this game that are in your and my boat, that are growing increasingly more frustrated at the game, but do not want to abandon it, but do really love this game. Like, you're like, I'll do freaking dev work for free. I love this game so much, but it is actually unbearable to me. There are a lot of people like that, and we could get them in a Discord and pump up some numbers and then have something significant. You know what I mean?
All right, well, this is my mission.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Outside of Tarkov, let's end it. Let's bring this baby home. Talking a little bit, like, have you got the F1 sim racing thing going?
I just suddenly had like a weight lifted off me.
I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit about New World, and then EA Play was today. We got some new information about like Battlefield. I don't know how excited you are about Battlefield 2042, but there's some cool stuff going on in the outside Tarkov gaming world.
Yeah, I got the sim rig all set up today. I just downloaded a bunch of shit. But dude, you think the UX is bad in Tarkov? Some of these sim racing games,
oh no,
are atrocious. I had a real rough day the other day because I was like playing the career mode in Assetto Corsa. Like, I just wanted to do some races and like just, you know, learn how the thing works, learn how the fucking steering wheel works and how everything feels. You know what I mean? It was like, you enter the first thing, it's supposed to be like a time trial.
Yeah.
And there's like, I'm in VR, and there's like, I'm sitting in my thing 20 feet away from my keyboard, and I don't realize that like if I look up, there's a menu, and I need to like click on the steering wheel to give control to my steering wheel. So, but I'm sitting in my chair with my gloves on and my VR helmet, so I needed to buy a separate mouse and keyboard.
Oh my God.
I can actually like control, because when you're in the menus, you don't see that in VR. You just see like the Steam VR or whatever. So I need to like take my thing off, look at my screen over in the corner. Yeah, I needed to change my whole setup. It was a little bit more complicated than I thought, but it was like I'd be driving around and it was just like you getting points. And I was like, well, I just did 3 laps. Now what? Like, what the fuck do I do? It didn't say like this is how many points you get, or finally you succeeded. It was just like I just hit escape and then like left the race, and it was like, cool, you got a gold medal. It's like, what? You didn't tell me that. Like, I've been driving around, like, what the fuck, wasting my time. And then one of the other issues, I had issues with like the shifting. It was kind of weird. And then I ended up watching like a beginner. The guy was like a dad, but he was like a beginner going through Assetto Corsa, and he had the same like 3 or 4. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? When do I quit? Yeah. Why is the shifting so weird? And I was like, yes. Like, I've seen one other person on planet Earth play this game, and they had the same questions that I did. Things. But you need to literally download a third-party mod called Content Manager, and that becomes the UI for the game. So nobody who plays the game Assetto Corsa, which is one of the most popular racing games out there, like, nobody actually opens the game and clicks on like career mode and chooses their car. They all use a third-party launcher effectively, where you set everything up, because the other one is so bad.
That's crazy.
it's so bad. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a learning curve. But I got all that set up, and then finally I got to racing, and I vomited a lot the other day.
I was gonna ask, bro, if it's like, how fast does it come on to? Are you like, yo, this is cool? Like,
No,
and you're just like,
it's only when, so I mean, because I was just impatient, wanted to get into like the fun shit, because I had been driving around a fucking Fiat 500, like front wheel drive in the beginning of the career mode. So I'm like, all right, so I fucking grabbed like a BMW rear wheel drive that was like souped up one, and then I was like, fucking, and then I just went full F1, like 8 bajillion horsepower. And I mean, you give those things too much gas, you'll just spin. Like, it's so different than, I've played plenty of games where like you got to make sure you don't give it too much gas because you'll spin out. This is like a whole different ball game of if you've ever driven like an actual sports car, supercar, racing car, like you would know how quickly those things can get fucking out of control. It's only as soon as I'm rolling backwards, instantly I'm like, oh, I need to close my eyes, because my body, it can handle seeing things this way.
Yep.
And I'm like 1% nauseous. And I can just kind of breathe. If I have my fan blowing, it's okay. But then as soon as I fucking spin out and start rolling backwards, I'm instantly like, oh, fuck. And the other day, I literally needed to like come over, put my fucking full screen camera on, and then like ran up the stairs. And I still have all my boxes for my sim rig over there that are just everywhere. There's a million boxes. And I'm like tripping over the boxes, like my mouth's watering. I like know it's coming on, and I'm still live. I was upstairs literally like dry heaving for like 20 minutes while live on stream.
Are you serious? Oh my
God. Yeah, dude. It was.
Oh my God, that's rough.
Because I was like, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna keep. And it was like 3 or 4 times where I felt really bad that I'm like, I pushed myself too far.
I can't do it.
It's 87 degrees in my basement. So
oh my God.
I'm fucking have a VR headset sitting in a thing with leather gloves and whatever. Oh man, yeah,
bro, that's weird. Like, it's weird how your body, like, cause it's like if you've ever been in a car and the car pulls up next to you and they start moving forward very slowly, and it feels like you're moving backwards slowly. Like, it's weird how like we are so used to all those movements of going in reverse, going forward, but there's some weird trickery where your brain's like, no, we're not moving. But then another part of your brain goes, yeah, we are. And it's just like, and you just like freak out. Like, that's so weird. And I bet that happens all the freaking time in VR.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I get car sick, and it's not so bad when I'm driving around, but as soon as I spin around, I find that as soon as I spin, like I'm at this point, I'm like not trying to save it because it's not like I'm like racing or anything. I'm just driving against like AI. I just close my eyes, and I finally set up a bunch of keybinds, so now I can restart the race without having to take before I needed to take my VR thing off, put it down, come over, press a bunch of keys. But then the problem is that your menus are spatial, right? So if you're sitting in the cockpit, the menu is like upper left. So if you take your helmet off, or your fucking goggles off, and you put them down in your chair, you're literally like looking at nothing. So then when I get to my keyboard and take the mouse, I can't click the menu because I needed to like grab the headphones and like do this to then this. But then my headphones, I needed to like recenter them, so recalibrate, like this is the center so that I could reach. But then once I sit back down on my chair, I'm 20 feet outside of the driver's seat. So I needed to rebind on my dude. It's been complicated, man.
That's insane.
I feel like a boomer as hell trying to do this.
That is crazy. That seems
I found out I'm extremely bad at driving.
After that. That's all it took was 75 hours of VR sim setup, and this isn't for me.
No, I'm gonna get better.
No, I know,
but I'm bad at it now. I'm bad at it, or at least like I know that I am aware of. I'm not start. There are a lot of things when I start that I'm like, I know I'm starting a little bit ahead of like where a total newbie would start. Like when I was speed running Super Mario, like I knew I was starting a little bit ahead of the average person who had never really watched as much speed running or analyzed as much speed running or speed run another game. I knew had a little bit of a head start. This one I was like, I might, but I also like my experience is really limited, so it could all be like useless information that I have. Turns out it was mostly useless information. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm starting. Like, this is one of the few things in a really long time where I'm like humbled at how bad I am, and it's like it's gonna be a little bit of a grind.
Yeah. Does Anton
like chapter one of the racing, dude? It took me maybe 40 attempts with the AI at 50% difficulty for me to win the first like time trial.
Wow.
And there's like 50 time trials. It took me like a long fucking time. Like, that's embarrassing, bro. I mean, like normally level 1 of a racing game is like you're instantly passing everybody and it doesn't matter.
In whatever
I was
car.
coming in I was just driving into the fucking wall on the first turn every time.
Jeez. I haven't played a racing game since like Gran Turismo 2. Like, it's been a long time. I know Anton is super into that stuff too. Does he do VR? Do you know?
I don't know if he does.
I know he's
Warren
got like a setup. Too. Oh, does Warren? That's cool.
Yeah, Warren's setup is pretty sick too. He sent me pictures of it back in the day. I haven't talked to either of them since I've got my setup here. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to touch base with those guys. Right now, there's a content creator. His name is Chris Hay, I believe, Haye, or maybe I don't think it's Hayes, something like that. But you know, he's the sim racing community on YouTube actually seems like fairly small. Like, it really seems like there's only like 4 or 5. Like, it feels like Tarkov 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Where it was like Deadly, Pestily, and even Pestily was like the new guy.
Yeah.
He started doing,
Anton, the old armor test videos.
Yeah. So part of me is like, oh, it feels like there might be another opportunity to kind of come in and maybe take something that's like really obscure and not user friendly and maybe, turn it around. But I have a shit ton I'm going to learn. I have to learn because I'm in no way going to be able to be like, here's how you want to race level 1, like, fuck no, dude. I've got so much more. I got to be so much better of a driver, and I want to understand all the software and the tools and stuff. But it should be cool. We'll see.
That is sick. I mean, that's cool. I mean, and part of it feels like is exciting to like really start something new and fresh and like complete newbie, because then the progress just feels even more rewarding. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, and I mean, I just feel like, some people in chat are saying, it just makes sense. Racing is a very like black and white, like you can see your progress. Like, I'm placing better. My times are getting quicker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was similar to the speed run where you could just practice a split and just like see the progress. Like, Tarkov is so subjective. Like, I played that raid amazing. There was nothing I could have done. I'm just dead. But this feels like, so to really start at the bottom and then just like see that progress, I'm sure will be incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, dude. And I see it totally differently now. It's funny. Like, I think part of the reason why I'm a little bit awkward around the track is partially because like I'm kind of approaching it from like the Mario perspective of like, there's a specific route and there's but it's a different skill set when you have a joystick and a notch versus your foot on a pedal and like there's torque applied to your wheel, and it's like it's just different.
Crazy, yeah.
It's a different skill set.
And you're in freaking VR, so more of your senses are just like completely.
Dude, the first time I did one of these things, turned around and looked through my back windshield to see the cars driving around, I was like, this is sick, dude.
That is actually pretty freaking sick.
You just like, because normally you have to hit a button to look behind you, or you look in the tiny little fucking mirror that you can't see anything because it's like 24 by 24 pixels, just to be like, it's so cool, dude.
So dope, actually. Yeah. Oh my god, that's sick.
Yeah, you'll have to come up and fucking try racing out.
That would be insane. That would be insane.
I want to have like my grandmother try. I'm thinking about all the content. Like, I want my dad to drive it. I want my fucking grandma to drive it. I probably shouldn't have my grandmother drive it, actually.
That'd be really cool. Have you seen any of the like the explosion that's going on with like New World on Twitch right now? Do you like?
Everybody just keeps talking about New World.
Do you like MMOs?
I've never really played MMOs.
Yeah.
Diablo 2 was the closest I ever came, but that wasn't really an MMO.
Yeah.
Like, you could only ever have 8 people. Like, it was more of just an online multiplayer RPG, not a massively multiplayer. Like, like I've seen, like WoW, where there's like 90 fucking thousand people all hoarding around, like, XQC or whoever
Or
the fuck is
Asmongold,
playing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Asmongold, yeah. So I've seen that before, but yeah, I've never really. You know what? I did play Elder Scrolls Online when it first came out for a couple weeks.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's I think qualifies as an
100%.
MMO, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
But that was yes, I forget why. I think I was just super depressed because I was just hoping it was going to be like Skyrim Online, and it was literally nothing like Skyrim
That
Online.
is literally exactly. They announced Elder Scrolls Online. I'd never played an MMO before. I bought it for Xbox, played it for like 2 hours, and I was like, wait, this isn't Skyrim, but with my friends. Like, I'm in the same boat though. So my whole life, I've wanted to play MMOs. Like, I remember not like my parents wouldn't let me play WoW because it was like a subscription and they thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I played RuneScape with like 2 of my friends on my freaking Compaq with a Q laptop that I got for school. Like, I remember buying.
And it probably stretched out all those bits and bytes of that computer.
I bought Guild Wars 2. I'm sorry, I bought Guild Wars 1 and my computer couldn't play it, so I was super sad, so I had to return it to Best Buy. Like, I've always wanted to play a thing.
Return the disc.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. And then I never had like friends that played because MMOs are like very much so predicated on like groups and guilds and dungeons and raids, you know what I mean? And like, and we've talked on the podcast before about how like some of my most formative games actually came later in my life with games like Destiny and The Division, which were first-person shooters or third-person shooters that brought in those elements. And that was the first time I ever like got friends together and we did a raid. And I like blew my mind. Those were some of my best memories. And so I have been like keeping an eye on New World. They did a preview event last year. And then this is like the 2-week beta. And then it comes out August 31st. And I don't know, like I checked it out yesterday. I was vibing it. I had a lot of fun. It very much so seems like a game I could put a few thousand hours into. Like, I don't think I will because Tarkov is just, you know, the game.
Tell me a little bit more about it because all I've seen is that like it reminds me of a mixture of like, what was that game that recently came out that was like the Viking kind of game?
Oh, Valheim. Yeah.
It reminded it looked a little bit like Valheim mixed with like WoW mixed with whatever, but like I don't know. I watched it for like 5 minutes and it was enough to say like, oh, it just looks like another one of those fucking games.
Well, that's the thing.
I just didn't look into it at all.
My bar is low because I've always wanted to play an MMO and I've never played an MMO. So a lot of people were coming to my chat last night and they're like, what makes this different than WoW? And I was like, dude, that is a good question. If you've played a lot of MMOs, I don't know. I'm cutting down this tree right now. You know what I mean? Like
I haven't.
I can't.
Is it New World? Like, is it like predicated on like 1700s America? Like what?
No, I mean, it's like the lore is it's this like island and there's corrupted and there's factions.
It's not like aliens.
Not aliens, but like monsters and there's this like corruption that's going on. Very like Oblivion, like, you know how there was the Oblivion and it was like infecting. That's very.
So there's like magic and things like that. Okay.
But then it's got the very like conquistador vibe. All the artwork is like the metal and there's like muskets in the game and bows and arrows. It's really interesting. It's the first game made by Amazon Game Studios. And that's right. And this was a complete, as I understand it, this was a complete pivot. Apparently, like 2-3 years ago, Amazon Game Studios was like, we're making a game. It's going to be this thing. And it was like Rust. It was like a survival game, like, but with this whole aesthetic. And they put it out.
Two rocks together.
They put it out in alpha, and everybody was like, this game sucks. This game's trash. So then they like tinkered with it a little bit and made it like added some more like RPG mechanics, and everybody was like, your game's still trash, you need to go more that way. And then like last year they came out with like, this is the New World, and it was the preview, and they're like, it's an MMO now, and everybody was like, yo, this has potential. So then they
kind of like it's the isometric third person or like,
yeah, you can roll. It's very like your assessment of it basically being like Valheim plus WoW,
which I also never watched or played,
is actually very good, because a lot of people like it basically, because it started as a survival game and then worked its way into an MMO. It's basically now like an MMO with a lot more survival game mechanics. Did you ever play like RuneScape? Like, I don't know how WoW was. Like, I don't know if there was like a wood cutting skill in WoW, but the only MMO I actually sunk time into was like
There were
RuneScape.
skills like that, yeah.
And I remember like just building campfires, like 60 of them in a grid because I was trying to upgrade my campfire skill. And so it's like that. It's very like survival element where like you have all these skills for doing these things. You can't cut down certain trees until you're at a certain level. And you can zoom the camera in to almost like right over the shoulder, third person. You can zoom it out to more of like
the
an
graphics
isometric.
like really good, or are they just?
Yeah, it's really good. So they're really good because they're really good for an MMO because Amazon's Lumberyard, which is their engine, was originally forked from like CryEngine, and so like the stuff looks pretty good. So, but I mean, it's MMO, so I'm doing skills, and then there's this whole, it's pretty PvP focused. There's like factions, there's 3 factions, and then a faction can control a territory and then upgrade that territory and get buffs in that territory. So if you're in a territory your faction controls, you might get more resources from gathering things or whatever, and then you can launch these like large scale like PvP battles. So your faction can try to take over one of their factions, and then it like schedules it so everybody can like know what time it is tomorrow, so anyone can be there. It can be there. There's still a lot I don't know. I put 3.5 hours into it yesterday, and it's my first MMO ever. But I just felt like my whole life I'd been waiting to play an MMO, and I couldn't get behind starting one that's more than a decade old. So the fact that this was new, the fact that people that like MMOs, like Sequisha, I watched Sequisha play the preview. It was the only reason why I want to play it, because he loved it. Deadly, who like mained WoW for the first half of his life, he tried it yesterday and he was like, this game's going to suck. And then by the end of the stream, he was like, Chad, I could actually sink about a few thousand hours into this. So the fact that people that like MMOs like it makes me think that it's a good game. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's definitely not for everybody. Like if you don't like MMOs, I weirdly like that stuff though. Like I don't know
if I like them
in
yet.
A bunch of games that I used to play. Like I was talking to chat, I was like, I could fire up a stream and just vibe, throw on some lo-fi, talk to you, and cut trees down for 8 hours to get this skill up so that I could then go cut these better trees down to get resources so I can craft this musket that I want really bad. Like I've always been just down with that kind of stuff, the grindy stuff.
Now, imagine if after you cut down 2 trees, the 3rd tree gave you fucking 1% experience, and then the 4th tree gave you 0 experience.
Yeah.
How fun would it be to fucking grind this?
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's like PvE content with like dungeons. You get 4 or 5 people in, you go to the dungeons. There's PvP dungeons and raids. It seems pretty cool. I had a blast playing it. I think I'm actually going to play it because my streams after the podcast are always a little bit shorter because we go in. I think I'm going to play it tonight. And then they say they're calling this a beta, but it's a polish pass. Like the official, like they're already marketing the official launch date of this game is August 31st. There's no way that they're going to like redesign mechanics. Like they're just balancing and polishing everything. But it's pretty dope. People are digging it.
So it's actually like the proper beta.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Usage of the term.
Yeah. That's the one.
Maybe I'll give it a try. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. It's like because I already have the sim racing that like I just spent like $4,000, so I kind of need. I really want to. I want to get sucked into that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Justify.
The beta's around for like maybe 10 or 12 more days. If you want a key, I have a few. I can give you a key so you don't have to like pre-order the game to download it. So then you can have like 10 days to just like hop in even for a few hours offline and just see if you vibe it.
Maybe I'll fuck around with it tonight.
But it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. And it's just memes like getting those games have such low barrier of entry to like get your community involved. Oh, that's a really cool thing, by the way. So Amazon Game Studios, owned by Amazon. What else is owned by Amazon? Twitch. You can connect your Twitch account and you can invite your Twitch subscribers to your guild via directly the interface of the game.
That's dope.
It's so sick. It's really cool.
They were gonna do something like that with that BR that they made.
Oh
that
yeah,
played that one day,
like Hyperscape or something.
Hyperscape, yeah, I remember because I had like there was like an NDA and all that shit.
Yeah,
and, I remember that there was supposed to be like crazy Twitch integration similar to that, where it's like you could, yeah.
But I thought that was cool. I was like,
That's dope.
yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I don't know if you're excited for Battlefield as like a shooter or not, but they did their little EA Play thing today, and they did some more information on Battlefield. Did you ever play Battlefield games or nah?
I did, but to me it was just like a different COD. Like it was like COD for when I was bored with COD.
Yeah.
Never really played the campaigns. Mostly just there's something about those games that it felt like a weird. It was like Call of Duty combat, but a lot more running and driving in between.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't want to run in, die after 2 shots, and then respawn and have to walk another 20 seconds after waiting 10 seconds to respawn. And I never really liked the ABC, hold the, I really liked like the team deathmatch. I mean, honestly, I like just free for all because that's like just a pure skill based.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely on a shitty team running around that are, everybody's just playing for their own thing. But I'll probably end up checking it out, giving it a try.
Yeah, I'm excited because like I always kind of thought the same thing. They always sold me on the marketing of Battlefield games, large scale, tactical. These maps are huge. There's tons of players. You got to work together. You got to move through this stuff. And then I would get in and it would be walking simulator headshot, spawn at the back, walking simulator headshot. So they have talked a lot about like addressing some of that. Like they made the maps bigger, but then they made some control points smaller to make it always feel like there's combat. There's some interesting things. So what they announced today was Battlefield Portal, which is like, the Forge in Halo, where like you could create your own maps, the Forge.
Yep.
It's that for Battlefield, but they put in all the assets from Battlefield Bad Company, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 1942, and Battlefield 2042. So it's like,
holy shit.
Yeah, so like in the marketing they were doing all sorts of stuff where it was like 1942 German soldiers with knives only versus 100 current combat medics only armed with defibrillators. And it was
holy
just like,
fuck. Dude, that's like,
it was
that's
like
the stuff that
anything you can imagine.
Those sandboxes that have been out for a while, I feel like were huge not missed opportunities, but poorly timed. Like, remember how you could, like in Tony Hawk, you could make your own like skate parks? That was never like, it never saw its full potential, right?
Yes.
But like imagine, but now you think about all the people that are, have a bajillion subscribers and they make all these custom mods for Minecraft and then people run through them.
Bro.
It's like that is actually like huge potential, like a sandbox. I'm more intrigued by those sandbox type games now because I see the potential now that you have like a content creator could go and make, rather than have just like a video series, make them go like a map series where they're making the maps and content around them. And like
a part of the marketing was, do you know Courage, the streamer? He streamed on Twitch. He moved to YouTube now.
Yep.
Jack Courage. The part of the marketing material was he announced today at EA Play or during it on Twitter. He was like, I've worked with DICE and my game mode is going to be in the game at launch. And it's like everybody spawns with a random, it was like a bunch of stuff. So they're really leaning into that whole like content creators create stuff, create maps, things. In the whole builder thing, if it's on PC, it's up to 128 players. Massive. It's crazy stuff.
Damn.
So this Battlefield is, I'm interested in it. Like I'll pick it up, I'll try it out, and it'll be interesting. It seems pretty cool. And then I actually don't know if anything came out about this today, but there were all these rumors that there's this secret mode that everybody at first was like, it's a BR, and then EA was like very clear. They were like, we do not have a BR in this game. And then there was some information came out that basically
raid based.
It's Tarkov. It was like Tarkov, where it was.
Oh, shut the fuck! I was kidding.
No, like. There's rumors that there's like a thing that's like Tarkov inspired, but I don't know if any information came out about that today or not because I didn't watch EA Play. I watched a few trailers after it, but there was like I was talking to Geeks and he was like, yeah, the community, everyone in the community thinks that this other game mode is gonna be like
is this the thing that we've been waiting for a AAA company?
Yeah, like instance-based thing in the Battlefield world. I don't know what it is, but. People are excited. Yeah, it's Tarkov inspired. So the audio will be switched. Your stereo mix flips and gets turned upside down.
They add a lot more RNG. They don't tell you anything, and then
It's
the game is
Tarkov
super
inspired.
buggy.
It's just Battlefield, but you get
worse.
dysentery every once in a while because
Yeah.
it's just random chance to.
It's Battlefield, but you have gonorrhea.
Anyways, that's exciting. So there's some other stuff. We're in a really interesting spot with Tarkov. We don't have to go into it, but like the game wiped. We're already seeing people in the community that are saying like, the wipe is over. We have all this stuff that kind of leads us to believe it's going to be a really long Tarkov wipe, level 71 Kappa. They're saying the next time we wipe is with Streets. So needless to say that I can see a world where they fill out the fall with content. We get Inertia, we get Lighthouse, we get stuff. And I can see a future where we're all very thankful that games like New World and Battlefield release in the fall. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
So either way, it's cool that we got some stuff to look forward to in the fall.
True.
But yeah, I think that about covers it. Yeah.
You're gonna go play a New World. You're gonna play Tarky.
Oh, 100%. I'm gonna go play some New World. I got the bug.
Oh yeah, man.
I got the bug.
Go for it. Enjoy.
Intention. You gonna sim race it up? I know you're not gonna go back to
I might play
Tarkov.
I know. I kind of feel like it's like a terrible relationship. You forget. I've been away from Tarkov for long enough. I've been staring at my menu that I haven't for the last 2 hours. That I forgot how miserable I've been all day.
All you can
After
see
my
is
first raid, I'll probably remember. Like, oh yeah, that's right. You are abusive emotionally and physically.
But all you can see right now is like, what if I can change him? Like, what if this raid I wipe a 4-man?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, guys, thank you guys for hanging. Everybody that's here. Normal spiel. It'll be live early next week on YouTube and all the Spotify platforms. Hopefully, we'll keep you updated on this potential community-driven let's fix the bugs and escape from Tarkov.com. But thank you guys for hanging, and we will definitely see y'all in the next one.
Peace.